On the third day of Christmas my library gave to me Audrey telling a story.
Hello, boys and girls. It's lovely to have you here at the North Pole. Now, I know you boys and girls are all on the nice list, but our story today is about a little boy who is most definitely on the naughty list. This story is the Santa Trap, and it's about Bradley. Bradley is not a very good boy. Are you ready? Are you sitting comfy? Okay, let's begin our story. Bradley Batterby was bad. He was born bad. Before baby Bradley even left the hospital, he'd bitten the midwife on the bottom, stolen the doctor's stethoscope, and emptied his nappy into his grandmother's handbag. And the older Bradley got, the badder he became. Bradley's parents were immensely rich. They had a huge house with a garden that was big enough to lose an elephant in. They knew that the garden was big enough to lose an elephant in because they'd done exactly that. Bradley had demanded the elephant as a house pet, but treated it so badly that it escaped into the garden and was never seen again. Bradley's parents always gave him whatever he demanded, not because he thought they deserved it, but because they were terrified of him. Every Christmas, Mr. Batterby hired a team of secretaries to type up the huge list of presents that his greedy son demanded from Santa Claus. Of course, Santa knew what a beastly brat Bradley was, so he never looked at the list. But that didn't mean that he forgot about Bradley completely. No. Santa is such a kind-hearted old fellow that he believes no child, not even one as bad as Bradley, should go without a Christmas present. So every Christmas morning, Bradley would discover that Santa had left him the same small gift.
Socks!
Howled Bradley.
Another pair of stupid socks!
Oh, never mind, Bradley dear, cried his mum and dad as they rushed in with a trolley load of presents. Look, Mummy and Daddy have got you everything you wanted.
But I don't want presents from you, roared Bradley. I want presents from Santa Claus like everybody else.
And he stormed back to his room. The next morning, Mr. and Mrs. Batterby were alarmed to discover that their son had climbed up inside the living room chimney. They were even more alarmed to discover that Bradley had nailed several sticks of dynamite around the chimney walls. What are you doing, dear? Asked Mrs. Batterby nervously.
What does it look like? Scowled Bradley. I'm building a trap.
A trap, said his dad. A trap for what?
For Santa Claus, snarled Bradley. I'm going to catch that fat fool and take every present he's got.
Mrs. and Mr. Batterby were speechless. In a lifetime of badness, this was quite the baddest thing that Bradley had ever tried to do. His dad was the first to come to his senses. Isn't it a little early to be setting a trap? He gasped. It will be a whole year before Santa comes again.
Oh, this is only the beginning, scoffed Bradley. It'll take me a whole year to finish it.
And he was right. Bradley spent the rest of the winter fixing dynamite inside all the other chimneys, and the spring training tigers, which he stole from the local zoo. He spent the summer fitting guillotines all over the doors and windows, and in the autumn cutting trapdoors into all the floors. By the time December came around again, Bradley had turned the entire house into one stupendous Santa trap. Oh, poor Santa. By Christmas Eve, their home was so dangerous that Mrs. and Mrs. Battleby had moved into a hotel, leaving Bradley alone in the house. "One last thing," said Bradley, as he hung his stocking beside the fireplace. He was certain that Santa wouldn't make it that far, but just to make sure, he tied an invisible tripwire to the stocking. The moment anyone touched it, a large metal cage would drop down from above. "No more stupid socks," thought Bradley. "This Christmas I'll get exactly what I want. This Christmas I'll get the whole lot." But as the evening grew darker, Bradley's eyelids grew heavier. His evil efforts had left him quite exhausted, and he soon fell fast asleep. It was almost midnight when Bradley was woken by the roar of an angry tiger. His tail had just been stepped on by an elephant. The house had grown chilly, and when he looked outside, Bradley was surprised to find the garden covered in a thick blanket of snow. Shivering with cold, Bradley decided to light a fire. It was only when the flames began to lick up the chimney that Bradley remembered the dynamite. Boom! The explosion blew Bradley right through the living room window and out into the rose bushes below. Cursing loudly, Bradley struggled free of the thorny stems. He had barely caught his breath when 6 sleek, stripy shapes came bounding towards him out of the snow. "Nice pussies," squealed Bradley as he backed away through the rose bushes with the tiger snapping at his heels. The tigers chased Bradley around the garden twice before he was able to lose them by diving into a heap of fresh elephant dung, and then he crept back to the house. Determined not to be caught in any more of his own traps, Bradley took a deep breath and prepared himself before opening the front door. "Aha!" he cried triumphantly as he leapt clear of the fallen guillotines. "Ah!" he cried miserably as he fell through the trap door. Sometime later, as the sun rose on Christmas morning, a scratched, scraped and badly bruised Bradley limped back to the living room. There wasn't much of the fireplace left, but amazingly, his stocking was still hanging up. And even more amazingly, Bradley could see there was something inside. Bradley hobbled over, tore down the stocking, and clank! The metal cage dropped right over him. Bradley let out a long sigh. He knew that he was beaten, so he slumped down inside the cage and emptied his stocking onto the floor. For the first time ever, Santa had left Bradley more than one present. There was a big box of bandages, a large jar of antiseptic, and a nice new pair of socks. Merry Christmas!